When the first Indian, Rakesh Sharma, went to space, it gave hope to a million dreams. To be astronauts, to dream beyond the poverty, to dream beyond the dirty roads, to dream to reach the moon. On July 22nd, India launched its ambitious Chandrayan-2 mission, of which I am proud to say that I was a part of. And we tried to make a soft landing on 7th of September. But unfortunately, we couldn't. Everything was fine. The equipments were good. We were doing pretty well in terms of our technology. Even with consideration of our financial crunch, we are a very effective, efficient, and capable space organization. ISRO had made Indians proud times and time again. But we failed. The thing that haunts me the most is not the fact that we failed, but what happened after that. The reality of how we failed. Anyone on the news or active on the internet can tell that the lander failed to land properly due to a communication error. But mind you, our communication technology was one of the best, if not the most efficient in the world. It was still able to beat most of its competitors in many criteria. But still then, our calculation, our algorithms failed. Not because there was a technical error or we were wrong, but because something intervened. Something sinister. It was a bright day for us. I, in my regular get-up, woke up early in the morning, excited for the lunar landing. I went to our control center immediately after having a light breakfast. I bid goodbye to my family, to my daughter who was watching expectantly at the television screen glued from the morning to get news about the landing. I was very happy and proud as a father to say that I'll be one of them who made it possible. I reached the control center, greeted my seniors, and took up my job. Seriously, got on my seat and started doing what I was supposed to. I was part of basically reviewing and viewing the recording feed, a video camera which was kept on the lander, orbiter, as well as the rover. All three had one. They were made to provide us live feed from the moon as the descent, landing, and the rover came out. They were made so that they could adapt to the lunar dark environment. Another reason why this mission was special, because we were going to be the first country that would land on the dark side of the moon. A place that has never been visited by any country before. Everything was going pretty fine from the beginning. The orbiter was very accurately placed in the lunar orbit. The lander was descending as we expected. But just 700 meters above the ground level, something went wrong. We don't know how or why, but we suddenly heard a crunching sound and we lost signal. After that, when the signal came back, the lander was destroyed. We were heartbroken nonetheless, but we still continued to persevere and see what we could salvage from this. Our orbiter was a success, so we could always keep record of the lander position. We could always keep track of the lunar surface or activity from the orbiter. But we only got a time span of 4 hours to do so. We waited. We waited for the orbiter to come in sync with the lander. After 4 hours, we did got our lander in sync to our orbiter. Our director directed us to salvage whatever video signal, audio signal, anything that we can to see what had gone wrong. It was my job to take care of this part. Hence, me and only a handful of 4 to 5 people, including the director, were present in the black box room, in which we tried to salvage the data we received before the lander crashed and tried to see what was happening or what went wrong in the mission. After waiting for some hours, we got what we wanted, a video feed from the lander just before we lost communication. There was no communication error. Something hit it. Something fast and shiny, like it was a flash, and then boom, it just crash landed. We then tried to recover the rover Pragya from within it. We tried to see if we could maneuver it directly, remotely from our control center on Earth. And thankfully, we were able to. Somehow the rover had survived. Well, a lot of its sensor and equipment were destroyed, but it was still working. It was able to send back signal to the orbiter, and the orbiter was sending the signal to us, and the camera was working and it was able to move. We were happy. We are happy that our mission was not a complete failure. Our lander was working. We are getting video feed. So technically it's a success. So our director told us to maneuver the rover to move around. And it was. Suddenly we saw it again. The flash. The orbiter went black. We still had to wait now for 4 more hours for the orbiter to come in sync with the rover. Only and only then can we get back, can we connect with the rover on the moon. We waited patiently. After the passage of 4 hours, we again got in sync with the rover on the lunar surface. The rover was maneuvered to go in a straight line. Since there is a time delay between moon and earth, we cannot give live signal. We gave some specified direction to the rover so that it could go in a certain way. After the signal reached, the rover started moving. We started moving again. It started moving again. After going for nearly some distance from the wreckage site of the lander, the flash was again. There was that flash. The thing that disturbed us the most was that there was never any official record of any country sending a mission to the dark side of moon. We were supposed to be the first. This flash could have, scientifically, most probably from another humanoid sent object. There was no naturally occurring shiny substances on the moon. We decided to go in that direction. After covering a certain more distance, we reached it. The object was nothing more but it was a lander. Not like ours, which has crashed, but a perfectly good lander. and its hatch was like ripped apart by something. Our lander was providing us the video feed, but our orbiter went out of sync again and we have to wait 4 hours. After 4 hours, we got back the video link again with the rover, but this time the rover was moving, but we didn't give it any signal. And unlike before when it was moving on the ground, it was like something was holding it. Something was holding it and jumping on the moon's surface. We didn't know what we had landed upon, but it did scare the hell out of us. Our director immediately blocked all public signal from the black box room. No one was allowed to speak about a word about this thing until explicitly given permission directly from him. We obeyed our director and observed. The entity that was holding our rover was moving, quite unnaturally so. Then we saw it. Just after covering certain distance, it jumped inside a crater. And mind you, the crater on the dark side of moon were far darker, far sinister than on the side that we see. It was like one side of moon was serene, tranquil, while the other was tortured by the universe. These craters were demonic. But something even sinister lay in that, because what we saw devoid us of any kind of human explanation. We saw a pyramid, not like the one we see on Earth, but a glossy, black, obsidian pyramid. After we saw it, we didn't know what to do. There were 3 possible explanations for this. One of the countries on Earth had capabilities to construct an obsidian pyramid on moon and we still didn't know about it, or we have discovered something, well, how do I put it, extraordinary. The entity that carried the rover went near the pyramid and kept it down. After the rover landed on the ground, we could control it now. And then we heard a thud, like something dropped. Immediately after that, the orbiter went blank again. We waited for 4 more hours. When the orbiter came back online in sync with the rover, we immediately turned it to see what was holding it. There it was. That thing, it was a human. I mean, it was wearing a spacesuit, and we initially were shocked, but then we looked carefully. It was having a insignia from the Soviet era. Hell, the Soviet never sent anyone to the moon. How come this astronaut is here? All our minds were raking with these questions when we moved the rover to go look at its face as the astronaut was lying on its side. How I wish I could stop myself, by going back in time. When we reached the face of the astronaut, it was a corpse. It was a bloody corpse. That corpse was having its eyes gouged out, hollow socket, and like a mummified version of its previous human resemblance. This thing was carrying our rover. It brought us near this pyramid and we don't yet know why. And then we heard it. The hymn resonating from the pyramid. And then it spoke. The corpse spoke with a demonic voice.
You don't belong here.
That was the last message from the rover. It was destroyed, lost. We don't know what happened. We lost signal. As you have imagined, this mission was kept classified. Immediately the Russian and the American contacted us. I don't know what our superiors spoke with them, but this thing was kept close. The media was fed a bunch of lies, and we really don't know what happened after that. But that voice and those hollow eyes still haunts me till this day. I still can't sleep. I'm afraid to take any job in the Space Control Center now. Hell, I'm even afraid of going there. Thinking about what we might encounter in the deep abyss of the unknown, of the vast space. If you are listening to this, please never go